Love and marriage go together like a. Oh, sorry, guys. Good morning. Let's start this show. Love and marriage go together like a carabao and trike. This I tell you, brother, you can't have one without the other. Love and marriage, it's a life you can't get rid of. Ask the local Filipinos here, and they will say his elementary. Try to separate them. It's an illusion. Try, and you will only come to this conclusion. I love and marriage go together like a carabao and trike. This I tell you, brother, you can't have one without the other. Life isn't easy with Heidi, American wife, so uptight. George tries, but sometimes cries, but the love each other you cannot deny. A married life like no other. Love and marriage go together like a carabao and trike. This I tell you, brother, you can't have one without the other. Love and marriage, love and marriage, love and marriage. Good morning, Magadan Omaga. Kumusta? How are you? Malagayong Pasko. Malagayong Pasko. It is Christmas time and it started too damn early, and I'm going to be broke even sooner. Malagayong Pasko. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. Okay, I'm about 2 coffees in right now. Hey, look at me. I got 2 mics. Can you guys hear me now? Okay. You're either funny or you're not. I'm not funny. All right, guys. Actually, somebody said you can't be funny and rich or something. I forgot what comedian was saying that. Once some of these comedians start making money, they become less funny and they're just not as real as they used to be. I'm not a comedian and I'm not rich, so. Good morning, Sarah. I see Cindy was in the house. I don't know if the ladies are still in the house. I don't have George here. He's already doing his weekend thing. I thought I was going to have him here. For those that seen us, we did a live stream, not yesterday, day before when we went to lunch, and we went out and did a bunch of stuff. Some people, I'm letting the room build up. I started early. This is a bonus for those that are coming in early. Um, Somebody had made the statement, "Oh, glad to see you guys getting out finally," or something, but we mentioned it before. We do. We just don't. We used to carry a camera everywhere with us. We used to record every single thing, and it doesn't. We stopped doing that. I don't know about in the past year, and now, especially with that new law that nobody wants to listen to, even more so. It's just odd having a camera in public anymore, but everybody does it. So we do. We just don't record it all the time. But dang George for the donuts. I'm gonna let you know. Donuts. He did bring them back a little bit ago. He's been up since 6, which is surprising. So I just wanted to tease you guys real quick before I get into this topic. Uh yeah, I've eaten 2 already. All right. So I forgot the name of the company, but this is a ring that's got cream that's got cheesecake in it. So, and I had one of the regular glazed ones, but check out the other one. I wish you guys, it's like caramel. It's supposed to be the Biscoff or whatever. but it's got marshmallows. It's supposed to be like a s'more. So, and the other one's just regular donuts. So he might make it back by the end of the live, but I don't know. Um, all right, guys. So the topic will be, the base of it is about tipping and two other vloggers having it out over a situation of they're just being vloggers, in my opinion. The both of them have under 20,000 on their subscriber count, but the one carries a bigger presence on Facebook, and he's got like a 500,000 subscribers. But basically, he had a Filipino that took advantage of him, and there's a bunch of things he made a mistake, and that's going to be part of the topic. But the other vloggers bitching about it that, oh, he just made the content and said he got robbed by a Filipino and blah blah. But initially, when it all happened, that wasn't the guy's intention. It just happened to do that, and then that's what the video turned out to be about. But the one that's doing the criticism, I'm going to criticize the criticizer and the guy that made several mistakes as an expat. So that's what I'll cover. I'll do some of the phone footage and show you guys what's going on. But the guy does go on that he tips everybody $20. And like George said this morning and last night, he goes, you don't do that in the US. Why would you do that here? You just wouldn't give an obscene amount of money in the US. The same with the guy giving the initial vlogger that got robbed. You wouldn't hand him a $10 or $15 and say, go get change for me in America. So there's a lot of things going on, and I'm really going to let them both have them, pretty much tell them both go screw themselves, because they're all doing content. Everybody's doing content. Then the guy complained that the other vlogger, okay, was doing this weird stuff just to get views, and he should have paid him because he got paid well for the video. I'm like, if I got paid for every time some Filipino put a camera on me or another expat put a camera on me, I'd be rich. That's not how it goes, and there's so much wrong with what's going on in both these guys' video. And then the other guy is called Tripping Tina. Basically, in my book, he's a regular, trying to be regular guy. He says that he had a Filipina and it was a bad breakup, but she didn't scam him and she didn't cheat on him. And he carries around a doll with him and pretends he has a new girlfriend. And I'm like, wow, dude, you're criticizing this other guy? So that's all right. This crazy chick's going to criticize both these dumbass Americans here in a little bit. So stick around. So, and if I didn't mention, it is Saturday, September the 6th. I'll let you guys know where we are. I don't know how far we are from Christmas. Hey, Siri, how many days till Christmas?
It's 110 days until then.
How many Christmas presents am I going to get? Hey, Siri, how many Christmas presents am I going to get?
Okay, I found this on the web for how many Christmas presents am I gonna get. Check it out.
Siri just got lazy, man. You're lazy, Siri. It's funny. The other day, I called her out before I was trying to talk to Google. And when I said it, I said, never mind. And she was like, well, that was odd. Because I was calling, I said, never mind. I called the wrong person. But can you guys hear me okay? How is the audio? I should always check that first. Hey, Vlogging Live. How is the audio, guys? And let me know where, still make comments and let me know where everybody's at. Hey, macaroni and chicken strips. Because the previous live streams we had a bad echo, and then George had us take a certain thing off of it, and then it seemed like for two live streams you guys could barely hear us. I'm hoping, being he's not here, and if I put it directly here, you guys can hear me a lot stronger than last time. Okay, well, I have the same thing on that he said caused the audio, which it probably does. Probably did. So I go in and say our hellos, and then I get into the story. I just think it's a bunch of But basically, the bottom thing is today about the live stream will be the tipping. And that's something me and George have said from the beginning was this tipping situation is that pre-pandemic, and now, yes, it's been a few years, but George tips like a Filipino. A good portion of Filipinos don't tip at all. When the Filipinas or Filipinos see their foreign spouses over tipping, they freak out, even if there is money involved in the household, because it'd be the same as being vulgar in the US. Unfortunately, George was really vulgar in the US. George, like, if he used to tip really heavy in the US, and he was known, like he said, to go into, like, if he went and sat down and had a few drinks at a bar or something, he was one of those that bought the people he was talking to drinks. And when we used to go to the bowling alley and get the food and everything, we would share with everybody, but he would buy everybody drinks a couple times, and then even based on $100, he'd give a waitress 50. And so to me, that was a little crazy, but if he just did it every now and then, that's okay. But to me, if you give 1,000 peso tip or a 20 peso tip every single time, it's just going to attract the wrong people also. Let's see what's wrong with my dog. What's wrong with the dog? So yeah. And this guy said a lot of weird statements, but there's a good balance because I want to tell you a story about when we went to the bank. Um, when we go to the bank, or you go to the store, there's always somebody trying to back you out of the parking lot. And like George says, you give 20 pesos, 50 pesos. I start giving the guy 100 at the bank. And we parked ourselves in the spot, and there is no traffic to get out of. The guy just sits in front of the bank, and it's already got parking, like it's a parking lot. And so we still do it anyways because that's just the way it goes. And George went back to go to the bank by himself two different times. The guy's looking for the 100 pesos. And he said he had to scrounge up 20 pesos because they only had 1,000 pesos. So he was looking for coins. He goes, man, you got to stop giving him 100 because 100 is still, considering he probably gets paid 600 pesos. That would be a little different. And then it'd be like me if I got $20 or $30 tip in the US, I'd be expecting everybody to give it to me at that point. So I used to do where I did Uber. I would say 8 out of 10 never tipped me. Never, not on the app, nothing. And I had a car. It was an SUV. I gave free waters that were in ice. I had a container that hung on the back of my seat. I gave snacks. There were little bags of chips and cookies and everything else. And I just let people take it for free for the first few months that I was riding. And the people took the snacks, the water, and then never made tips. So it was just like basically I wanted to make sure I was picking people at work, mostly at the airport in Tampa, but I still didn't get any tips. So on the occasion, I would get a $20 tip, a $5 tip, and 10. I was always grateful for everything. Now, when it comes down to Filipinos, I understand that there's a very bad wage, um, not depletion, there's just low wages here. But it also doesn't mean that as a foreigner, we got to become like the targets of paying higher tips or expectations because I do it all the time here at the house. Like when we have deliveries, sometimes I'm up to giving several hundred pesos, but if it's only a 600 peso like food delivery or grocery delivery, giving them 200 and 300 pesos is a little like again, I call it vulgar. But um, so I have to watch because I get the stare from George, and like George said, that like if you're out, they expect it every time, and the other part is if you're giving out large amounts, people talk. So, but um, so let me get into the comments. Still waiting for the rest of my coffee to kick in. I guess this mic is in an odd spot for me. I'm left-handed, by the way, so I'm always trying to. And that's the other problem. When me and George is out to eat, he eats with his right. So when he sits next to me, we're always like bumping. Besides me being fluffy, didn't sound right. But it's the same with the live stream. I do everything with my left, and we're always running into each other. Hey, what is going on? Hey, all the PH Antic fans. Let's all enjoy the show and don't forget to hit that like button. Yes, it costs you nothing. Yes, guys. Most definitely. What is going on? Yeah, it helps push the algorithm when you guys ask questions and, respond as we go through here, which I'm guilty of. I don't know how many channels I watch. I need to do more of that. Do the thumbs up myself. It's just is. I'm trying to get to the video here. There we go. We got it here. Yes, I do tip here always just to be kind, but now I see everywhere, even at the simple coffee stands, there's a chip tip jar. I would agree. So surprising how even Filipinos run high-end restaurants are adding service charges. Exactly. So, Cindy, you're absolutely right. In general, there's a lot of countries here in Asia where it's not a tipping culture. When I arrived almost 5 years ago, there was little to none. It was mostly a foreign thing, and Filipinos usually didn't. Now, I would say in the last 2 years, that's what I'm seeing is more and more tip jars, and it's almost expected. So, like if George tips out 50 pesos to 100 on I said a Happy Meal. Let's say he got his Happy Meal. He likes the toys. Hi, Pigsy. Pigsy, you can't have no donuts. Pigsy wants donuts. And don't mess with Dad's bread. Can you say good morning, Pigsy? Huh? I tried to give her donuts earlier. Pigsy, now's not the time. Off the table, sweetie. You're too big. You're too big for the table, Pigsy. Your costume came today. You can wear it tomorrow. Their Halloween pumpkin hat came in the mail today. You can wear it because you're orange. You're ordinary. But yeah, even on something like that, that is, they don't go by this 10% or 20% or anything. They'll do 50 pesos. On the Grab app, it literally shows average at 40 pesos. And I get that that may be low end for you if you're a foreigner, but when somebody makes 1,000 pesos or less a day, it doesn't mean because they're low wage that you should be giving higher amounts. You'll go broke that way. I'll probably say a lot of shit that'll offend Filipinos and expats, which is just goddamn cheap. You're right. I mean, there's a limit. It's just expected. And like yesterday, we had um, some items that were delivered by SM, two small boxes that arrived on the back of a motorcycle. So it wasn't even big enough. It fit on the back of his bike in that little box. And we didn't have him bring it in the house. We didn't have he literally we greet him at the gate and we were waiting out at the gate and I was going to give him 200 pesos because I thought usually it's in a full car when they deliver from those places. And it's not, I guess it didn't matter that he was on a motorcycle, but when George found out I was getting ready to give him 200 pesos, he was like, yeah, that's a little extensive. So again, he caught me and Bings, we've been talking about doing this tipping thing. He said, yeah, you just have to. But this new guy, um, tripping Tina. And again, I'm about ready to show the video here in a few minutes. He actually says he tips $20 to everybody, like for everything. 1,000 pesos every time he does something to the Grab drivers, to the taxi, to the most rides can't cost more than 400 in Metro Manila, 500 depends on where you're going, and that would be we can go several miles to the airport and to the mall, and it's still only 240 pesos. I would not tip 1,000 pesos on that. That's just it's too much. George said, "No way." So when I went to go give the guy 200 pesos the other day, he said, "Yeah, you don't do that either." So the guy says that he tips everybody $20, that this other guy was being cheap that he was bitching about. And he said that people in America earn 50 times more than what the average Filipino does. And I disagree. That's a way off statement. We do not. Not every American and foreigner's got money. As a matter of fact, a lot of them are broke when they arrive here. And this is where me and George have the conversation where I feel that's where the skin taxing or seeing me as a white American woman, or they just see me American. Even if I don't open my mouth, the guess is always when they see white people, it's always they're American, whether they're Australian or British. They've been identified. They're clearly speaking with an accent, and they'll say, "Oh, you're from America," and I'm like, "No, Did you not hear their accents? But I guess they don't see it that way. So they see you as being white, then you're rich. More is expected because out of a Filipino, they expect no tip or they're going to get what they would give. And so the guy said that the Americans make 50 times as much, and why the guy that went and got the haircut did not pay out the tip, he had no idea. But things we have some people. Let me say hello real quick to Sarah. Good morning. Good morning, roomies. Good morning. Yeah, he said he would appear, but I got donuts and he might appear by the end of it. Magadan Umaga, Heidi and George in chat. Raymond, good morning. Harry Walsh is in the house. He appeared 2 days ago for the live. He's been here. Usually the weekends are tied up. So we'll still get him in here 1 or 2 days. Probably Saturdays will be mine. I don't know. But I tried to get him to say, hey, now I actually have to make a schedule with him, literally sometimes. So it's kind of like we talked about trying to make sure he was here Tuesdays and Saturdays. And then I love the little guy, but it's just where it is. Hey, Adam, good morning. And of course, Cindy, good morning. Thank God it's Friday. Yeah. All right. Well, let me. Donuts. Yeah, I'm not going to eat the whole box. George isn't even kidding. Now, I did seem like I ate a lot yesterday. I had like oatmeal. We had chicken sandwiches for lunch, and we ended up eating spaghetti. So I've been off my eating the right foods the last week or two. And to me, that seemed like a lot. So I'm trying to think that I ate anything else. Now, I did make, weirdly, a sugar free chocolate cheesecake, but I only took one bite to see what it tastes like afterwards. And I know it's weird. I cooked it probably about 7 o'clock last night and it was still cooling down. I just wanted to see if using the real cacao powder actually made a difference in the flavor. Now it's in the fridge. So I'd like to, but two was probably my limit. I'll probably eat another one later. So I have to spread it out. So hello, MB. Did I put you up there? Yeah, I'm trying to get to the story. So I was kind of like letting the room build up. Audio is great. Audio great. Okay. All right. So let me show you. I'm going to do what you guys don't like me to do, but unfortunately, it's a better way to get the content. As a matter of fact, I didn't see an email for either of these to ask permission, so I'm just going to show them on the backside as a reaction. So, and you'll get an idea. The first one I'm showing is the original video that came out a month ago. It's a vlogger that's just a travel vlogger. On his YouTube, he's got about 16,000 people, but he does better on Facebook. And basically, up to now, a bunch of the Filipinos said he's just a bitcher, and I don't see that. He just appears to be probably about 30 years old. Typical, where he's just going to show what's going on. He goes around, talks to the people, and all of that. So, let's
This man scammed me, stole from me, and robbed me in broad daylight right in the middle of the day in Manila, Philippines. I tried to find him, but he was long gone. And the craziest part, just before this moment, I was having such a great day, hanging out with locals, laughing, everything felt just right. But slowly, it all started to fall apart. Next time, we can get a photo. You right away. And yet, after the scam, the same city that knocked me down picked me right back up. The kindness of strangers reminded me why I came here in the first place. Before we get to the robbery, you need to understand what happened just minutes before. Let's go. Oh, what is this man selling? What is this one? Tahoe? Oh, one Tahoe, please. One. Yeah, can I have? Yes,
okay,
please.
1 second.
Oh, let's get out of the road.
I'm going to skip ahead. So that kind of gave you the basics of what happened. So I know it's rough saying it that way, but the guy basically, he's about 30 years old. He is in Manila And I'm going to show you the guy bitching about him, and then I'm going to bitch about both these Americans. So the guy's walking down a regular street. Doesn't seem to be a bad area. To me, it appears to be more of the Makati area. It's not that bad. The other vlogger will say that he went in a slum area. That's not slum. Evidently, the other guy doesn't know a whole lot. And he said that the story goes that this vlogger I just showed you ran into a guy. You will be approached if you're on the streets of Manila or sometimes in Angel City or Mabalacat City. You'll get people to walk up. Do you need this? Do you need that? Especially if you're in the walking street area with where all the foreigners are. They will approach you and say, do you want to buy this? Do you want this? Do you want to go somewhere? A lot of foreign countries, when you arrive there as an expat, they're trying to help you all the time. So the guy approached this young vlogger that clearly had a camera, because the other vlogger that's bitching about him said that he did that just to make money. And I'm like, no, the guy was already vlogging when the guy approached him. So he basically said that the vlogger, the one I showed you, approached the homeless guy and asked him for help, but it was quite the opposite. The homeless like guy approached him. He asked for a haircut shop. The guy took him. And as they're going down there, the only thing that the Filipino asked for was food. He goes, yes, I'll buy you food. And by the way, the vlogger does tip other people. He clearly stated that way after the fact. He does tip people. And they get to the shop. The guy didn't have any change. I don't know why he didn't stop and buy him food before he got to the shop, but he didn't. This vlogger, and the vlogger's name, I wrote it down. I think it's TY. The one complaining is called Tripping Tina. The other one's called TY. I'll have to find it here in a minute. I'll get the links too. So we'll just call him Ty. I think his name's Ty. Ty actually gave this homeless guy, appears to be homeless, that's what it was in the comments, 500 pesos, which is about $10. But in the Philippines, that is about a day's wages for the trike drivers, for people working at the grocery stores. About around that 560, 600 pesos, an average for the working class here. So he gave him a 500 peso bill to go and get change. Bad business, guys. Bad business. You wouldn't do it in America. You don't do it here. It doesn't matter how much you think people are nice. There are good and bad people everywhere. Same with the Americans. Same with the expats. It's same with the Filipinos. Filipinos are the nicest people. You're going to get them where they're very helpful, and you can't judge the Philippines based on one person. The same with expats. You can't base everybody on this, and that. So he gave it to him, and he never came back. So the guy just took off. And this vlogger Ty went around bitching to everybody about it. Oh, my day's been ruined. I can't get my hair cut. And he turned it into content at that point. So then we have another vlogger. Sorry, I'm dragging this out. Then we have another vlogger that has come through and said, I can't believe this. There's this guy that said he got robbed in Manila, and he's also a Facebook person. It's a guy named Tripping Tina that I started telling you about earlier. He's a 46-year-old guy. Just 3 months ago, he was living in his van in America. He even describes himself as a life failure. To me, he's a regular guy because he said he had this girlfriend, but he never really shows the girlfriend. He said she did him dirty, but yet it had nothing to do with anything that people think. He's not complete on what he does, and he walks around with a doll. It's kind of, the guy's odd himself. So I'm going to show you his clip where he's bitching, but he's only probably got about 10% of his stuff together as far as, let me get that. See if I can get it from the beginning. Sorry guys. I don't know why it won't let me rewind it. It's trying to go to the next video.
Stop with the identity crisis. Don't let other people tell you how to feel about yourself. You don't need validation from foreigners or anyone else to know your true worth. I'm going to say this quick. This video right here from this vlogger, it really bothers me. Quick summary here if you haven't seen it. This vlogger is American. He was in the Philippines. I'm assuming that's Manila. And he needed a haircut. And so he got this guy to guide him to a haircut. Didn't know the guy, just a stranger on the street. Maybe the guy's homeless, maybe he's on drugs, whatever. He's nice, he's friendly, and he successfully guided this American to the haircut place. And while they were in the haircut place, the American vlogger handed the Filipino 500 pesos to go across the street.
By the way, he wasn't inside of the shop. He never made it inside of the shop. He didn't have change, which I would have not handed him 500 pesos myself. He promised him food. I would have stopped and got the food. I mean, me and George mostly try to just do food. We also do not pay tour. We do not pay Filipinos to lead us around. If you guys need somebody to lead you around, you need to hire a tour guide. If you guys are slumming it and going into places as vloggers, because let's be realistic, most of you all are carrying a camera these days. Most of you guys are vlogging, doing something. It's life. It's everybody. Everybody is a vlogger. Everybody is recording. Everybody's doing something. Even if they're just, don't say I'm not a vlogger because you're not on YouTube. Some of you are just doing Facebook stuff. Some of you guys are just doing TikTok for fun. But either way, it seems like everybody's carrying a camera. Do not not have a destination and just have some stranger. You wouldn't do it in America. Don't do what you wouldn't do back in America here. For some reason, it does seem like people lose their goddamn mind and get stupid when they enter the country. I don't know why, but um, it wasn't intentional that he picked this guy up, and they never made it to the shop. He handed him money. You wouldn't hand somebody in America money and tell you, "Hey, here's a 20. Go get me some change somewhere." And then expect any of them to actually come back. It doesn't matter what neighborhood you're in. It just probably wouldn't happen. And so most of what this guy says here is incorrect. He's also a vlogger trying to get numbers. Again, I'll show you his content in a minute where he walks around with the doll. So it's just the guy's weird. But I thought it would make good content.
And get some change so he could pay for the haircut. So the Filipino guy goes across the street, but he does not come back. And this, in my opinion, is to this vlogger's absolute delight, because now he has some content that can help him earn and get some views.
It was
And he pretends
unintentional.
like it ruins his day, and he's so disappointed. And the Filipino comments are so sad. They're like, I'm so ashamed.
It wasn't intentional. This guy just got scammed in front of the camera, and he acted like it was. No, he was really pissed. I'd have been pissed too, but I wouldn't have done it to begin with. Again, this guy's probably not a day over 45 himself, still a baby in my opinion, still younger than me, and the other guy's in his 30s. He had done other content, and the other guy has positive content. Drama sells, bitch. I'm gonna tell you right now, Mr. American and Mr. Americo, that's just the way it is. Whether it's good, bad, promotion for the Philippines and everything. Not everybody's out here to be tourist guide and tourism board shit like Kulas. It's just not gonna happen like that. And he's not the only one. Like his stuff is kind of dramatic too I mean, carrying around a doll and saying it's your new girlfriend and doing comedy. It's some of the stuff this guy does is out there. So they're both kind of pissing me off at this point.
Named my country. I feel so bad about the Philippines. What? Bad about what? Your criminal is so friendly and helpful. And the guy didn't even give him.
Your guys' criminal, talking about Filipinos and Philippines, are so friendly here. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay if a criminal is friendly and helped you down the street and then ran off with the money. Now, that other guy, Ty, was just a goddamn idiot. That is for sure. You don't hand off money and expect it to come back. People in the Philippines, like a lot of countries, are opportunists. They're going to get their hustle on. I'm going to tell you that everybody's grandma and uncle are hustling here. me and George had a full conversation about that. I started to say it was generational, like the new generation is doing. And George's like, no, there's some older ones. And we kind of went back and started talking about, and he's right. Even the older ones are getting in on certain things to make money. And when opportunity presents itself, it happens. It's kind of like, and then sometimes you're just like him giving him that money. He probably wasn't going to be a criminal that day until the money was handed to him. And then he thought, oh, well, this guy's not going to do anything or chase me or whatever. And then just disappear. But it was funny. Their criminals are friendly here.
$10, 500 pesos. You know, in America, a poor person makes 1,000 pesos an hour.
That's a lie.
500 pesos.
That's a lie. That's a freaking lie. Comment, guys. Are you kidding me right now? Not everybody makes 20 bucks an hour. Okay, I'm sorry. Not everybody is making $34 an hour nursing. Not everybody's making, 100,000 a year, 200,000 a year. 20 bucks isn't even close to wages. I just seen a brand new video where it's the woman that she lives on $2 a day worth of groceries, but she goes to the Dollar Tree to get them. And she started talking about the price of meat doubling and everything, all the prices going up. And like people in town that are working, some places minimum wage isn't that high. $9, $10, $8. She kind of went through the wages, and I'm like, the whole goddamn town is like that. And they went through interviewing people and stuff, and I'm like, there's no way everybody in America is making over 20 bucks. I might have been gone for a long time, but we still have family, and I'm not stupid. It doesn't make me where I don't know what the hell's going on, and that's not lies on social media. This guy's lying. Every American does not make 20 bucks an hour. This bitch is lying. Again, exaggerated content.
To this American guy is absolutely nothing. It's a meal at McDonald's. It's some socks at Walmart. If that guy got it successfully in a strange, quote unquote, dangerous neighborhood,
it's not
to a haircut place,
it's not.
$10 would be his. I was in Manila. I gave every taxi driver a $20 tip. That's 1,000 pesos. Because
do not do that. Do not hand everybody a blue bill, which is more than a banker makes here, more than a cop makes here almost. A cop would be lucky to make 30,000 pesos a month. Okay, so more around the lines of probably 27, and they're working every day. So that is not true. But you do not want to hand off just 1,000 pesos to everybody or a driver or whatever for several reasons. I remember during the pandemic, they were doing that shit, 500 pesos, 1,000 pesos, because somebody brought the groceries in the house or something. Eventually, you will go broke that way. Some of these guys are arriving on, well, they are now. It's got to be more than what it used to be. But there are people on very low Social Security and amounts that they have in the bank. You can't keep giving out money like that all the time. Eventually, you will go broke. 50 pesos, 100 pesos. I would watch the tipping culture here with the Filipinos and Asians. And I'm going to tell you what, a lot of people say the Koreans tip a lot, but I'm telling you, a lot of the other Asian countries won't tip at all. And if you look at the other cultures in Europe and stuff, there's quite a few of them that don't tip. Pay attention to what the others are tipping. And on the Grab apps, and when we go into places, 50 pesos, 100 pesos is, an average. But telling him that he should have just gave him the 500 pesos because he was in a bad neighborhood, the guy was not in a bad neighborhood.
If you're able to help somebody and you earn 50 times what they do, can you please?
Lies. 50 times.
Like, what are you doing? Are you like saying, ooh, I can't wait, I'm going to test this guy. Let me give him these 500 pesos. Send him across the street. And see if he comes back with money. Oh, this is exciting! It's so exciting. What if the guy was like starving? Put a piece of chicken in his mouth. Said, "Here, don't bite this chicken. That's my chicken, okay? This is a test. This is for my entertainment, and I'm possibly going to make so much money off of this."
It was not a test, you dumbass. It was not a test. Okay. After this, he double dog dares the vlogger to jump. Go ahead, say something about me. So he dramatizes the end of this in a few minutes. There'll be music in a minute, so I don't want to play his music. He double dog dares him to start shit with him. Come pick on me, mister. And people do not make 50 times what Filipinos. You know what I'm tired of? Here's me saying some shit about Filipinos. Good thing George isn't here today. Why is it I see nothing but Filipinos spending money? It doesn't matter. Everywhere I go now, including street vendors, like George says, we feel like the welfare cases these days. Filipinos carrying multi bags, and our neighbor going in the house with 2 boxes of Nike shoes and got 2 cars and 2 motorcycles for 2 guys, okay, that are living there. And it's like, I'm seeing nothing but spending with Filipinos these days. It's like we go to SM, we go to the mall, we're out at street vendors. When we were at the coffee shop, it was totally filled, and that was 300 peso coffees. 300 peso coffees when 1,000 would be a good job. In SkyTech, they have like some small call centers and jobs that are over there, but that you'd be lucky if they pay 1,000 pesos. So even if it is office people, they're lucky to make 1,000 pesos, but somehow they're spending, you know, tons of money here. I still haven't figured it out. I'm not the first vlogger or person to say it here. All I see is people spending money. Like, I don't even know how they would afford the Krispy Kreme George spent. He spent 800 pesos on these donuts. He came back, I about choked. And a lot of people are like, well, you got the money. You shouldn't be here unless you got the money. But this idiot's going on about people in America making 50 times as much. That's not true either. So thanks for spreading that to other Filipinos that I make 50 times more than everybody. It's not true, not even close. And the people that are buying these condos, building these houses, and saying they got all this money and everything that are expats are the 1%ers or 6%ers or whatever they want to call them. I don't even think it's 6%. They are in that 1% situation. So I don't like the thought that every time I step on the street, you expect me to give 500 pesos for getting in a cab. I'm not going to do it. Okay. Just not going to do it. So this guy, it is what it is about him. So he's also trying to make content himself. There it is. I got the music still came up anyways. I can't get his account to open up. Wonder why it's not doing it. Give me a minute. Anyways, the guy's name is Tripentina. And again, he has made up a story about breaking up with his girlfriend, and he uses a doll as content with wig on it, and he goes around, and I get everybody has his shtick, and that's his stick and everything, but he does crazy shit here too and back in America to get attention. Everybody is an attention hound. I'm an attention hound. You know what I mean? At least own it. I own it. I'm broke. I'm white and broke. Okay. I'm crazy. Ain't nobody say I'm not. And on top of that, I do YouTube. It could be that I like to talk to people. Could be I want people looking at me. At least I'm admitting it, you know. I'm a little narcissistic, you know, but goddamn, don't sit there and talk about the other Americans bad and this, and that. And it was all about content when you're just doing content yourself. So the whole thing is the tipping situation, in my opinion. That one vlogger is calling out another one. I'm calling both their dumbasses out. Don't give somebody money and expect them to come back with change. Don't start a business with somebody expecting that everything's going to work out and nothing could ever go wrong. Kind of jumping into that one. Just don't do it. Let's see. Yeah, the guy admitted he was living in a van. The last guy talking. He admitted his life was a failure. And so down to the tipping culture, get the proper guide. He said the guy was in a bad neighborhood and he did it. Everything was intentional. It's not intentional. The guy he initially started out with the hole, went around the corner looking for a haircut, ran into somebody. A lot of stuff is unscripted. There are lots of channels that are scripted. You can tell they're scripted when they walk up to a homeless person or whatever. This was not intentional. This was just a random vlog that he turned into what had happened. People will follow you. Okay. And you don't have to tip. Me and George discussed this early AM and last night. We always have conversations. That's probably why we get in a fight half the time. You could trust and believe that it's simply talking about tips that could get us going. You don't have to tip every single person for every single thing, because this guy later states that you should be tipping everybody, and if you ask for this or that, unfortunately, we don't do that in America. You just don't. If the guy goes with you and is an actual guide or something, then it's kind of like when we hired the driver to go to Manila. We gave him money for lunch. We did do a tip on top of it, but the guy drove us, you know, close to 100 miles. And so he deserved a percentage of the car that he had, and he was a safe driver. And we gave him lunch and everything else. He came inside with us to Google and everything else. But we don't have to tip every time. And that's what I feel I'm running into is every time I talk to somebody, they ask for money. Every time I do something, they're wanting money if they're helping me. And it's like, so then, like a lot of foreign countries, you're like, I'm okay, I got this, because it just gets old. I'm not the first person to say that every turn somebody's trying to carry your bags, or they're trying to get their hustle on. I can appreciate that. But when everybody else, as far as expats, are overpaying, it makes it really hard. And I want to mention something um, that happened the other day. I was outside and taking care of the cats and dogs, and we have, it's not a first wives club, it's some sort of walking club of probably about 6 Filipino women, probably in their 70s, 60s maybe. They appeared to be a little older. They were practically gray and not much older than me. And let me take away this. Um, one of them was like, "Oh, how are you?" And I did. And I was like, I knew it was going somewhere. I really did. Because anybody who approaches me outside asks for me for money, or can they do work or something else. And we really don't. Most of it's taken care of by me and George. She asked my name. I asked their names, and they asked me where I was from. I didn't quite say where I was from. They just asked if I've been here a while. And so I said I had. And then they asked to clean the house. They got straight to the point, and the woman did. And I was like, oh, maybe. And I knew I needed to talk to George. They said it at 1,000 pesos right away when I asked her how much. So she discussed coming Wednesday, and she set the day. She's like, and I said, well, we can discuss this, talk to my husband, blah, blah, blah. 1,000. We're not talking about 8 hours. We're not talking about, it's almost double the rates to be here for a couple hours. Now, here's the deal. A lot of people will say, oh, 1,000's a good deal, but that's not the rates for bringing somebody in to do some basic cleaning. But she immediately jumped to 1,000. George said, oh, hell no. She definitely knew you were a foreigner, because right now, okay, at the family house, the nanny, cook, and cleaner that stays there all day, okay, I think George says she gets 500 pesos. It's just a rate that's set. It's already been set for a while. I know it's under 6, but he's like, for her to say 1,000 to come in for a few hours and clean, just cleaning, yes, that's a little much. Because she claims she cleans other people's houses and she lives right behind us. And I'm like, yeah, for 1,000 pesos, that's extensive here. It doesn't matter. We're not quite in Angel City. We're not actually in the city. And George goes, oh, yeah, especially if she's cleaning other people in this neighborhood. Nobody will give her over 5 for an entire day's worth of work. And then comes in the other things. There are laws, there's all these different things. And he said, yeah, the answer is no. And that's why we haven't gotten a housekeeper, because one, I'm the one who does things. George is the one who does things. Yes, I get sick and it's hard to do things, but I'm like, to bring her in one time a week for that, it's not the $20 that bothered me. It was the overcharging and rate from the beginning. I feel like she was scamming, and George goes, she definitely was. The tops for an entire day is probably 500 pesos if it's that in this neighborhood. It's not what I feel she deserves or that I'm an asshole, but to straight jump to double the cost. You can't go by that you're an American and you're being cheap, because that's going to be the first thing they're going to say to you as an expat here is you're being cheap about this. You're being petty. Take your ass home. And I want to be treated like another Filipino. That's just where it is. It's just where it is. So, but that's my spiel on that. And I'll probably rant later. And depending on how far in, I'll probably talk about the guy again. But to bitch about the other expat bitching from another expat that was living in his van down by the river a few months ago and coming in having a relationship. I'm still trying to find the guy's channel with I don't know why it didn't open up. That is so odd that it didn't open up. I can't get his channel to open up. There it is. No, it's not. Okay. There's the doll. So his shtick, the one that's bitching about the guy that got robbed, is he was just doing it all for content. And you don't walk around with a doll, bitch, and made up a story about a girlfriend initially to start your channel? I don't think so. And he calls her Tina. I wish you guys could get a better view of yeah. She's got there it is. You can see her. Her hair's purple. Purple with sunglasses, and she's got a veil on. Watch my true love story, he says. The guy is absolutely weird. No, he does everything to get attention. See him? He wears all Filipino clothes. Look at me. And basically, he's trying. See him in public doing this? So, who's zooming who at this point? Everybody's a goddamn vlogger and trying to get attention. Just admit you're narcissistic and get straight to the shit, bitch. Don't bitch about somebody else's tip and give bad information that all Americans make 50 times as much. Next time I go outside, you stupid C. I almost called him a C-U-N. Let's leave that in out and add the T to the end. That I'm going to get hit up for money, because all this misinformation out there about how that Americans are rich. Sorry, our asses is broke. The whole goddamn economy is goddamn breaking. Shit. What you talking about? Nobody put me through an 8-year college. I'm going to start wearing an I'm broke shirt. I'm Canadian and I'm broke. That's what's going to happen. Hey, what is going on? MB is in the house. And that's how I feel about that. God damn it. Man, I had to get one of those rubber band guns, and then when I see people like that, I can just pew right at their shoulder or something in public and snap them with a rubber band. Maybe I just should get a rubber band and snap expats in public with it and say, bitch, I heard you was looking for me. Bitch, here I am. Bitch, here I am. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, whoa, they're just bitches anyways, females in America. But it's like, you guys are just dumbasses. Dumbass. No, George is just a dumbass. Unless you're in USA, then it's Friday night. Yes, most definitely. Good morning, vlogging life. And I think I covered that. Yeah, it's one of I need a new one, but there were extra costs this month. And if I didn't mention on the side note, I'm heartbroken. One of the kittens did pass. I shouldn't call him a kitten. It's because now they're about 8 months old. The ones that we took in February, what is that? Yeah, they're 7 months old. He upper respiratory infection. Extremely went sick. I can't see baby boy. I put a video out saying Geo's right here with me. Geo was sick about 2 weeks ago, and he just slept laying out in the sun, but super lethargic. Vet put him on the steroid, cough medicine, antibiotic thing, because he had some snot and everything in his nose. And then a couple days later, the other cat got sick, the Bengal one, and the very active one. It took him out immediately. he just got really sick where he just didn't move, like he was just laying on the concrete situation. He did well on meds, so they were about a week apart sick. And they were vaccinated, so they're in and out of the house. And we like if the door goes open, they go outside. And so it was very disturbing because he barely moved. And then I didn't see him for about a day. Didn't see him in the upstairs. I didn't see him outside. He must have been roaming the neighborhood. And of course the boys were fixed and everything. Everybody got fixed. Everybody got vaccinated. And they just had to be outdoor cats. We've already got 6 inside. Then they come in and out when the doors open. So we're 6 in the house right now. And now Geo, I'm just not gonna let him out anymore. And then 2 days ago, he just looked like crap. So then I didn't want to let him in the house. He really was. And the vet said you can only keep giving him the meds, and then he passed. So he just got some sort of cold thing, and just that was it. So unfortunately, he did pass, and I'm like, yeah, no, Gio, you have to stay inside. So I don't want to. Willie's fine. Willie was sick last year. We had Willie sick for about, I don't know. You guys remember, for like 2 months, the boy was on and off stuff, vaccinated and everything. They just some sort of upper respiratory thing. It's not the other one that they can't recover from, but it did. It's been raining. I think that's what got the boys is it has not stopped raining, so they've just been wet out there, and we tried to treat them, and yeah, it was a hot mess. So I'm very sad. And like George said, we can't save them all. There's a bunch of new kittens in the neighborhood, and every time I see them, I want to pick them up. And we don't have like the rescue room and to be able to take in all of them. We can only try to treat the outside ones, like we give them flea pills. Not these guys, but like others that we have. But we don't know whose cats are whose. We think a lot of them are just eating at the house. So there are like 3 that go in different neighborhoods, like they go out and they go into people's houses. We can't double treat them. We can't, they can come here and eat, but I don't want to give them a ton of medicine if other people are doing it. So we just knew to treat the boys and mom and all those. Good. I did watch the last live, and yes, he is cutting in and out too. When we were sitting there, not the one we were at the coffee shop, the one where we were fighting, and the one before that, yeah, you could barely hear us fighting. Usually, you can hear everything, but I think it's because we were doing this, and there was all different buttons pushed the last time. But no, it was very faded the last time. So either the audio was down or something happened. Not this one, but the one where we got into it. So yeah, I'm not sure. I was trying to read that first. It's amazing how great Kufki can answer and then later completely flub an unexpected easy answer for it. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Yeah, yeah, with the game. Got the game going on. Got the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Chargers. I don't know. That's a tough one because I was in Kansas City for a while and lived in the Ozarks, and that was the area of my first husband, and so it's I know not a bad team, so I'm just like, okay, just a football game on today. But yeah, I seen that. Actually, they were playing it. A lot of people are wondering about where to watch the game. It's on YouTube today. So I didn't know if it was always on YouTube like that. I don't know if it's because we're paying for the premium, but yeah, I was watching some of it earlier. So who do you guys think will win there, AI? Probably a bunch of guys. Here's the thing. Walking street doesn't always mean just you're down there for the girls. They do have a lot of food places. I like Kokomo's myself, and a lot of people say they don't, but I do. It's got good seating and good food, and the owner's a super nice guy. And but they got like in a lot of these places, they got where you can watch the game, like large TVs and everything. And but there's some good. And I order food from Hook and Reel, Longhorn, and eat in restaurants, but pick it up and bring it home because of the out of control tipping. Yeah, in the U.S., I don't tip picking it up. Unfortunately, there's times I tell George, a lot of people don't realize I'm an easy pushover. I know you guys see me controlling him on air, but I'm gonna tell you 90% I'm pussy whipped or ding dong whipped. I'm gonna tell you I'm probably both, you know. I'm gonna tell you I'm a pushover. So I just always feel like I was tipping like that. So no, I dropped we did something the other day and I dropped 200 pesos in and we pretty much picked it up at the window. So it was we walked up and just picked it up afterwards, but they had a jar there. It was the hamburger place, and it's like I just felt beings they were cooking that, and see that's what I mean. But I'm not going to drop 1,000 pesos to a driver. They take us. It takes us sometimes 20, 30 minutes to get to the mall because of the traffic and everything. But that's about the tops we do is about 200. Like that's just what we do because it's only like a 300 peso trip. I'm not going to pay double the cost. That's where you guys have to start thinking about the tipping and stuff. Even if you're just doing 10%. Yeah, see, here's the guy. See him with the doll? He calls her Tina. It just wasn't on my phone when I was sitting there, but it's kind of odd.
I am only mannequin.
Please.
Find a real Filipino or find a cooking tutorial video on YouTube.
I've tried that already. All the tutorial videos are like, put this, put that, put this, put that. There's no measurements or recipes or anything.
You don't need a recipe or measurements with Filipino food. You must just simply put your heart and soul in it. Good luck, Free.
And this guy's so weird. Tipping in the Philippines is what is ruining it because tipping in America is now out of hand, and that is what's happening in the Philippines. There's a lot changing in the Philippines. You know, I told George that a lot of people feel, and I've heard it a lot lately, that foreigners don't really have a say. And you do feel like when I first got here, I felt like I couldn't do anything because if you say this, then you get the look. If you do that, then you're against this, and that. And then finally, I'm like, George, I'm just going to say whatever the hell I want at this point. Short of ending up in jail because you do something illegal, I'm still a human being. I believe that people, I'm not going to get into the one passport thing and all of that. But the whole point is if a Filipino belongs in America, I belong here. And just because it's the Philippines, you have the respect for the country, but I don't have to follow every jackass that does something stupid or that over tips or does that. So I'm looked at the wrong way. There's a breaking point for everything situation. But in a case like that, the the tipping has gotten out of control. The prices are on the high end. Like for those that want some more information, we try to tell you about what's going on in our life. For the last 2 months, I've lost substantial money over medical and insurance right now. I'm fighting an insurance thing right now. And so part of our income disappeared for the last 2 months. And so it is expensive to eat healthy. Am I still, like I said, making 20 good decisions a day or a week versus a bunch of bad? Like we had the chicken sandwiches and spaghetti, and it's kind of like, yeah, but honestly, some of that is cheaper than me buying like the fruits and vegetables and the other items that I was getting that was helping me. So I only bought part of whatever and I fell into the junk. Now the donuts is something different. I already felt I was off the wagon, but um the cost of groceries is what costs us the most. We don't keep packaged chips in the house. We usually don't keep anything like the donuts came in today, but the cost of groceries is out of control. Um That's one of the bigger costs, the electricity. I feel the meds are on the rise, services are on the rise. I notice now on Lazada, things are going up by $4 here, $5 here. And I just noticed, I was telling George that I'll have to take a look, but we had bought some hamburger, some pork, and then we got some of the pork cuts. So we got like two different types of pork because I make the sausage. I think it went up by 100 pesos per kilo. So that's still another couple dollars on each meat that we bought. So it adds up. It keeps adding up. It keeps adding up. Look at me. I'm not ooh, I don't know why it's crooked. But costs are up, services are up, and it just seems like to do anything is starting to add up. And people are like, "Oh, well, it's not the cost of America. You're getting away with whatever." But I didn't come here to pay. I knew there would be inflation, and there are good channels that have discussed this. Our Philippine Journey, Philly in the Philippines, Geo. Shout out to Geo. I said Geo is my co-host today, and we got Geo in the house here. But they talked about this a long time ago. Inflation is coming. You guys better figure that in. And I guess that's something I didn't think about when I drug George here to the Philippines. And it was something that we should have calculated more for. Um, we did not plan on more savings for this. We didn't plan on just Social Security and some YouTube money and then his side hustle that he has. It's just keeping us at middle class here in the Philippines, guys. So, but in America, it would take him to work the 16 hours again to be probably below middle class. So it's a tough battle. It really is. So what do you guys feel? Should we be paying 10% of the and sometimes I even try to figure that out. And like when we will go and get the chicken, it's literally remember when we got the chicken from that one company, the boneless chicken. It's about 1,200 pesos. So then I guess 10% would be 120 peso tip. But high end is 40 pesos. So I'm supposed to pay three times as much to pay 10% of the bill. So where is a good median? Or how about the ones that aren't? Is it okay that others aren't paying tips at all? So they're like, hey, I don't want to give money at all. Seems. But I like the guilt inside would just be really bad. When I do eat in the restaurant, yeah, when I'm feeling come over me and they're lucky to get 15%. And that's if they're doing good service because I know people are sticking up for their situation. It's silent quitting here when it comes to waitressing. They won't come with refills, they don't come take the plates away, they don't do nothing. They bring the food, they come and they delay, they take the order, they make you sit there for 40 minutes. They come and this is several restaurants. And then they just bring the food and they're gone. And sometimes it's three or four people bringing the food at once. So it's not one server that brings the food. They got somebody holding one plate, another person's holding a plate. They'll bring in the appetizers. So it's just like, and then they never come back, never. So it's like, well, they didn't earn their tip, but of course we do it anyway. So I hate in USA going to drive-throughs of Starbucks and they ask if I want a tip. I've literally stopped going. Yeah, I thought it was nuts to pay $5 the other day. And by the way, I didn't get to drink my cappuccino at our regular spot, and their service has definitely gone downhill. So we've been going there for several years across the street. And it was a meeting place for a lot of people. We like it because of that, but the place is packed. The food is mediocre. And I ordered an actual cappuccino before it had some sweetener in there. This time it wasn't even sweetened as a cappuccino. And usually I guess they didn't use a mix but it was bland. It had no flavor. It was highly watered down and it was $5 US. So, and we gave a 200 peso tip because we didn't know how long we were going to be sitting there. We usually play board games like we'll do like Parcheesi or we do like Uno or something. And so like me and George is really into board games along with some other funky stuff. But we gave him 200 pesos. The order was, I want to say it was under 1,400 pesos. So his meal, my meal was chicken and french fries. He had a drink, I had a drink, and the nachos. So the nachos was the appetizer. So for the Philippines, that's high. And the place was packed. These weren't with students either. These were people with plates of food, just like, several plates of food on the table like we did. I still dropped 200 pesos because I asked him, "Does this go for the staff and everybody cooking and everything?" And then I started thinking, "Okay, let's just drop 200 pesos." And I got the stinky eye from George and everything. And it's like, and then he reminded me that I shouldn't have put it up front. He said that's for the takeaway orders, and I said, "No, I think that's for everybody." And he said, usually he just like we usually give it to the staff on the back side and stuff, but no, I hear you. $7. Imagine paying five in the Philippines. I can't get past my cheap ass cannot get past paying $5 in the Philippines. I go by the wages. I go by the area. I go by the full infrastructure thing and all that. I just can't flip into my mind that they're just do a $5 coffee. I don't get where these establishments feel they can charge us. I've seen, I'm gonna just put it out there, some real shitholes that are charging $5 for drinks. And I don't get it. And the food, and it's like there's this place, I'm probably gonna say it wrong, it's called Doña something. They're literally charging $5 for a small donut. And they're frozen, like they cook them or whatever, and then they put them in a deep freezer. And I'm like, well, I don't want them frozen afterwards. And so, and people have bitched about their food, and it's like they just opened a second shop. They're taking photos out there, and I hate to say this, this is that nepo baby shit. All this shit, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the government. All this shit going down with them not building the proper water blockage things and the fake infrastructures and these $1 billion babies that are spending $100 on gas with 26 cars in their garage. There's a lot of rich Filipinos here. We're not talking about one percenters. We're talking there's just the other ones that are in Angeles City and Mabalakit and all that. So you got these nepo babies and these rich people that's got some sort of generational wealth, or they call it what's the word? Um, I won't say the word out loud, but the money didn't come from being honest situations. And they open up these multi restaurants, could be laundering, who knows. But either way, I don't know how they open up a second restaurant when the food is so and they're charging that. And I told George that, per se, you spend 70, 80,000 pesos a month living in this area, which is way above average. It would choke me to stop there and buy a $5 donut. Like when you guys see us do these donuts, it's it just happens to be twice this month, but still $13 for donuts. That's somebody's entire wages for donuts. If you were in America, I could make $100, $200 a day, $300 a day driving with tips and hustling. Then $12 donuts isn't that bad. I cannot make more than 1,000 pesos here. I'm now a legal resident, and I just can't see paying it, guys. I don't know where people are charging these prices, how they're expecting these tips. You can't replace the money here. That's what hurts so goddamn bad. What? Well, come here. Well, come say hi. Well, come say hi. Come show. People haven't seen you forever. Let's say hi, Gio. Let's say hi. What's going on? Let's say hi. You a good boy. You looking for a donut? You looking for a donut? What do you say? You a good boy? You want a donut? Huh? You want a donut? Oh, he's using my boobies, my bouboirs he's doing the fluffy pillow thing on top of my, what are you going to say? No, now you want to talk? Now you want to talk? Here, I'm going to put the mic down there so you can say your thing. Yeah? Why is the top of your head wet? He probably dipped himself. There, what do you got to say? Here's the mic right here. Say something. Well, what do you say? There, what do you got to say? Yeah? Okay, my co-host here is going to speak as much. So what do you think about the tipping, Gio? Huh? What do you say? Do you like to tip? Yeah, I don't like to tip. People think we're rich. Are you rich? Hey, listen, I'm white and you're black. We're like ebony and ivory. Should I tip? Should you tip? Because you're foreign, or it's because you're Filipino? Are you Filipino? Huh? Huh? We're like ebony and ivory. Yeah. Ready? Side by side on my piano. Keep on. Oh, you're still doing puffy pillows on my hand. He's trying to see him. And by the way, he never like retracts his claws. They're always open. Hi, honey. I know. I'm so sorry about your brother, sweetie. But I wish you guys wouldn't kept running outside. Yeah, you good boy. Yeah, so I can't let you out no more, honey. Yeah. No, they said he's fine now. Vet said he's fine, can't do any more than that. So I'm like, yeah, we can't let you back out either. No, we can't. No, we can't. You're not going back out. Why is your head wet? Huh? Yeah. What do you say? I bet you he did have some donut this morning. No. Stop talking back. No. What? You talk too much. You talk too much. Can you guys hear him? You talk too much, Gio. Yeah, you do. Yeah, people do forget their common sense. That is for sure. Sorry, guys. They kicked out all the other previous comments. I'll have to start at this one, which I guess I'm an hour behind anyway. Sorry, guys. I've been ranting, robbing, and now singing Ebony and Ivory. Hey, I wish you guys could see this. Hold on. Wow, that is so weird. The comments must really be coming in because it's clearing everything off. It's not just in restaurants. In Boracay, each tentacle that wraps around your suitcase, yeah, expects a tip. Yeah, same at the airport. Yeah, no, I hear you. What? He's probably not going to stop. When you go out of your way, carry something into the house, you'll tip on that. Well, you should, yes. But like the, I mean, it's kind of rough. It's kind of rough. Heidi, is this live or Memorex? Glad to see you two out together. Yes, yeah, it wasn't yesterday. It was the day before. Like I said, we go out all the time. It's not every day, but we just stop recording stuff. The content is just like I said, flooding out there, and we just got tired of charging equipment, doing things, showing every minute of our life. We more enjoy the live streams, but we do, you know, we do what we got to do on there. And let's be honest, anyone on YouTube being generous with a camera is alternative motives. Yeah. I mean, I think George said it right. He said it right. Like when we go into shops and take the people's times up, or when we stop and ask a bunch of things about the food, we're always ordering. If we're in that restaurant, we're doing, whatever. Let's say like that barber that this wasn't even a barber shop. It was the one I think about a year and a half ago where I got my hair cut. I ended up getting 3,000 pesos worth of service there. So it wasn't just one thing. We made sure it was one trip. We did a bunch of services and we tipped everybody well because we were recording. We made a whole 300 pesos on that video. I'm telling you that, and back then you made more money than you do now. So unless you get something viral, like a million views for expat John that probably paid out 10,000 US dollars, you're not going to get any, you're just not going to get the money situation. So we did all those services because we were taking the time. We wanted our people to see it. We knew it didn't pay out. YouTube doesn't always pay out. Not everybody's monetized. So you should, like George said, if you're taking up the people's time and then you make a promise, like the guy helped them, then okay. But that Filipino approached him. Hey, I'm talking. He wants me to pick him up. I hope you guys still hear him yappy. Hey, yappy. What? What? You and your tiger claws. What? What, honey? I know. Oh my God. You guys ought to see. Look at him clawing away. What, honey? Ooh, you got claws like a tiger. You got claws like a tiger, huh? Oh God. But now he wants down. He's like Tweety. My first trip couldn't get out fast enough. Tipped the driver 500 cash just to get me out of Angeles. Yeah, it's possible. Well, there are some occasions where we have tipped, but usually it's long distance. I think that's a little, but I guess at that point you look at it as $10 at that point. I wouldn't do it all the time, but I hate the scenes that have tipped, yeah, starting at 20%. Well, that was like when we went, boy. Hey, you got a microphone right there. Do your thing right here. I put the mic right there for you so you can talk. Here. Here. Yeah. Well, people want to hear from you. Stop complaining. Stop complaining. Gio, I made you co-host. Yeah. Yeah. You talk too much. Did you give your dad a tip this morning for donuts? Did you? You want a donut? No. Now he doesn't want to say nothing. Little bum. You're messing my wig up, boy. All right, so maybe my co-host will come back. No, I guess not. No, you're back. So he jumped back. There it is. When I put the headband on, it pulls on my old wig hair. If you're white and speak English, yes, you're American. And if you're really Australian or from the UK, yeah, even if you are, yeah, it's funny. Always American, yes. You can put Mary slash Cat in George's spot on the couch. Yeah, I don't know where Mary is, but yeah, here Geo's back again. What? Well, then say something, boy. No, he's special. The boy is special. Yeah, he talks all the time, and he seems to be neurologically damaged. He never retracts his claws, and he he falls over all the time. When he was a kitten. What? What? You talk too much, vampire. Honey, you can't do that, Sam. That's my boobs. Please. Please. Come on. What? All right. We're not doing boob cam here. So, yeah, Mary's somewhere. When I had my donut shop in Arizona, we had the tips on the screen at the same time. They were paying. I thought it was strange, but in Heritage, yeah. Yeah, no. And they're starting to do that here. There's tip jars everywhere, even at the pickup places. And I think they have them in 7-Elevens too. If I win the 1.8 billion in the lottery in the US, I'll start tipping like crazy, right? Wow, sugar-free cheesecake sounds good. Actually, it was pretty good. I took one or two bites, but basically it's eggs, use a half a pack of cream cheese, and then I do the monk fruit sugar, and then vanilla, and I use the cacao, not cocoa, because that other stuff is processed. The real original chocolate is from the cacao, way healthier. I make George like a homemade hot chocolate and me, and we use the sugar-free sugar for that. So, like I said, I make a few bad decisions a week right now, but it does kind of tilt into it is cheaper to eat junk food, depending on where you're at or what we buy like the chicken sandwiches, I think were $1 each here. So we got a couple of those and a couple of dollar spaghettis, and I'm like, yeah, because I was having a hard time, like as far as my energy. So if I win the lottery, yeah, you said you chip like crazy, yeah. Is there a way to buy that Powerball in the Philippines? Don't know. I heard you can buy them online, but I mean, you can't buy them like physically here. I just think you can do it online, possibly. Put a mop with curly wig in Georgia's spot. Yeah, yeah. I should do what that guy does. Yeah, that's why I thought the cats were funny. That I would say Geo is my co-host. I put it on the other channel. So the other channel, George says, you've been talking about different names for the other channel, and we've had the channel now for like a year or something. That we also run the live streams and put other content. It's like it's George and Heidi's Unfiltered Philippines, and I'm like, yeah, just name it after us is the best way to do the other channel. So I bet I put that video on the other channel this morning and said I have a new co-host because George is gone, but I got donuts. So, good morning, Robert. I will have to Google or just get my son in Wisconsin to get it. Yeah, I think there's online like there is here. So, yeah, we'll have to split that pot. Good morning, Vietnam. Stupid is as stupid does. I think both of them are stupid. Honestly, I just put them both out right now. I do some stupid shit. Call me out, and I'll be like, "Yep, I'm pretty stupid." You don't advise that Americans make 50 times as much. You don't advise to give out $20 tips for everything, and that Americans make $20 an hour. That's a lie. A lie. It doesn't matter if I've been gone a few years or not. I'm not stupid. So, but some of the stuff he said coming from a guy that does his content with a doll, you just lost. So, I have my stuff 75%. Like for those that are here in the Philippines, what do you give a tip every time the you get a delivery from Lazada? Because they don't do regular mail here, not normal. I received a piece of mail from the United States, and you guys will say, "Oh, well, 14 days is not a big deal." No, the mail actually was in the city for 14 days. It literally said arrived, and it had a stamp of when it arrived in the city, and it took them 14 days to get it to me. And but the same with that, Lazada, it's not even a regular postal person that delivers, but if you receive something, which in America, I don't know, do you tip your Amazon driver every time he arrives? Do you tip when a package comes through the US Post Office? That is their post office here. And remember, they get, I believe, like George said, they get a wage, and for every package they deliver on Lazada, they told us they get a piece. It's a price per item or something. And so I don't know. We do sometimes if we're paying COD, but then we found we were doing $50, $100, but we order a lot of things each month. So, which is it? Is it, they get a percentage of every time a package arrives? And if we're ordering all the time, I mean, we do on the occasion, but do you guys deliver them every time? We pay when Billy buying boxes come because they bring them in the house and then we give a couple hundred pesos. I think the highest we gave was 500. So it was a heavy, heavy box. But that was at the holiday. We do the gift box or gift baskets for our regular drivers every year. But do you guys tip your Lazada people? Or what the hell? Gio? He's playing with the toy, guys. See him attacking the toy? Are you trying to talk at the same time you're chewing? Huh? You can't chew and complain at the same time, you monster. Oh, look, he's playing. That's really cute. For him being 7 months old, that's pretty cute. Hey, he's still complaining with the toy in his mouth. What are you complaining about? No, you want to play? Ready? Ready? Get him. He brought that from the floor. That's really cute because it's down there for the puppy. Well, what? Huh? Here. 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 You're very active today. Yes, you are. You're attracting the girls. Yeah, you're the only boy in here now. Brother. Very sad. 500 pesos is what, 850, so not a crazy amount of cash. No, it's not. Not for when a Billy buy-in. You just wouldn't do that on your average delivery or give it out as a tip. That's what I've been trying to say. You can't go by it's only $8. That's what other foreigners, I'll probably say half of you all will say you're just being cheap, and that's what the guy was trying to say. It is wrong. You cannot go by that. That it's only $8. The deal is I cannot replace that $8 in the Philippines. And that's not what other Filipinos pay. I get they'll say, "Oh, well, you're in another country." That's what I've been trying to say, and I get that's what you're saying. Not crazy, but the guy told the guy he should have just let him have the 500 pesos for pointing out a shop. It was the Filipino who approached the guy, and I get it that his biggest part is he was making content. So he said that the other guy was going to make a ton of money on his video, so he should have just gave it to him because he took him to a haircutting place. Because you're a vlogger, because you're a foreigner, doesn't mean you have to give big tips either. Because there's cameras on me from Filipinos just as much as the next person or other expats with cameras. You don't get paid just because there's a camera nearby. But do other vloggers do it? Have we done it if we're taking up their time or using their shop? Yes, we try to tip nicely, but you're trying to, try to find some sort of balance. I don't know. What area does he come from in the US? Yeah, who's making 20 bucks or 50 times as much? Now you get me all itchy, boy. Hand money to a call girl, it's not coming back. Yeah, well, if you hand it to most people, you wouldn't do it in America. There could be somebody that's not really even a criminal. If you hand them a $20 bill, you're just made them a criminal possible because more than likely they're not coming back. So I don't know why the original vlogger did that. So he sounds like he is from my area. Wow, this is wild. The chat is not allowing me. Like if I go to click on something, it's still passing through, and it will not. Once it passes, it won't let me do it. And I can't. And I don't want to turn the thing on because it'll go by too quick. Also, hey, I buy stuff at the Dollar Tree. Don't put them down. No. Who said I was putting them down, or did somebody else say something? No, me and George already admitted that when there was good money coming in Florida, like I said, if you watch our original videos, you could see we had 5 cars in the driveway. We used to go to the Dollar Tree and we would get office supplies and they had those steaks. They literally sold dollar steaks and pork chops. We used to get them all the time. So yeah, you go to some and not others. Yeah, hey, what's going on, chosen one? All I want to say is that they don't really care about us, right? What about your tipping? How are you tipping there? In Arizona, in my city, there is a food shelf on Wednesday. It's amazing. All the Lexus Mercedes outside getting food put in the trunks. When looking up stats for the Philippines, it was a lawyer and a doctor making on average. Now, is that pesos to 25 USD, which has to be converted? It depends. Some of the specialties and stuff, but yes, that'll still tell you they're not making a lot of money. So, no. But they have to be in specialties and stuff. Yeah, California, their fast food is making 20. Yeah. Yeah, it's not enough to live on, and not everywhere is that. I think what was the other average is 9, 15. So, was the truck driver guy who did not want to give George his possibly, but I don't know about a test, but that'll show you that's it was at that point the other vlogger really twisted that. I mean, the dumbass went down there and literally went and tried to talk to the guy down at the chicken place. I'm like, okay. the whole point of that idiot that came is that it was charged to we already paid for it. So it was already charged to our bank, and if we had to reorder again, that's when we said we'd be out $50 because we already paid $25 for the chicken because we got two of the I think there's like 18 pieces of the boneless in each. So we would have to pay for it again. The whole point is that we were already charged $25 and the guy was late and we didn't pay for the cheap one. We paid for the faster delivery. We didn't expect it to come fast. And then the bitch went and leaned in on his bike. He would not give it to George. He called him an American, said he was a foreigner. And then George started speaking in Tagalog. He didn't think he could. And I wasn't even outside, but that was a hot mess that day. I guess. I don't know about a test, but I know the guy doesn't have a job no more. So that was just horrible. He wanted us to come up on MacArthur Highway and pick the food up on top of that. So not only was it an hour late, which is unheard of, he actually wanted us to come to him somewhere and get the food. And tip was already on there and everything else. We preset the tip up and it just sucked. And then when he got here, he got a full attitude, like right from the beginning. And that's when George said, "Get the camera." And he had it because the guy was out there cussing him out at that point, wouldn't give the food up. It's just like, there's times to break loose. And I'm just going to let George have him. I'm going to turn my pit bull loose, man. Yes, living large with 100 grand on credit. They say Philippines poor, but they are not in debt like a lot of Americans and have more respect. Um, I would beg to differ. They do take a lot of credit here in the Philippines. I think that's how a lot of them are living is on credit. So there's a word for it. I don't know what it is, but they are borrowing a lot. They don't get a bunch of credit cards and run it up and then don't pay. I think credit is everywhere. I wouldn't just say and have more, the statement is a little off. They say Philippines poor, but they are not in debt like Americans and they have more respect. There are bad Americans and bad Filipinos. Respect is with each individual person, not a culture. I'm sorry. I'll answer you that right now. And they do take a lot of credit because there's no goddamn way. Every place I go, all the time, they're dressed 10 times better than I am. They're spending with several bags, walking around with stuff. There's everybody. And our neighbors all have multiple cars and multiple bikes. And we're in a so-so neighborhood. This isn't even considered a middle class neighborhood. A couple houses down, it's actually built of concrete with no windows at all. So what I'm saying is they're getting credit from somewhere. There's no way that like George said, when he left, there were hardly any cars on the street. 5 years ago was half the amount of cars. Now everybody's got a new car. That is not even a kidding. New cars, motorcycles, tons of motorcycles, everybody buying e-trikes. Where the hell are they getting the money and credit? It's getting worse by the day, the amount of money. This isn't I see that shit in America. No, it just makes you wonder how they're paying for it. So I disagree. They are getting credit. They get credit from the local people and stuff, and they do run up credit at the sorry stores, credit with other people. It's no, there is a bunch of these loans going on. I've learned never to go to SM Market on the first. Yeah, it's so crowded. Yeah. And a lot of we notice that some of the stores that's where they're buying their stuff for the sorry store too. So you'll see baskets of all the stuff for their sorry store. So yeah, you gotta watch when doing that. I can go to SM Mall in most restaurants and feel okay, but when I went to SNR, yeah, spending over 400 hit hard. Or you see a lot of Filipinos doing that. Like George said, when we go to Landers and entire carts filled with stuff and they're all Filipinos. And I'm like, where are these people coming from? There's probably 3 foreigners in there and all the rest are Filipinos. And it's like, there's no jobs like that here in the Philippines. That's got to be generational wealth or overseas money, or even OFWs aren't sending back that much money. There are people, maybe it's because there's 6, 7 people living in a house. Filipinos want money for opening a door, putting a piece of cardboard in your motorcycle seat and getting a trike ride. Sorry for the need to recap what happened after the guy led him to the barber shop. Sorry, he took the 500 pesos. So he led him to the barber shop. The other guy, bitching about the guy, said that he was already inside there. He never even went inside there. He just wanted to give the guy money. He did promise to get him food. And the guy that led him down there said something about getting him lunch or getting him some food, he said, which at that point he should have stopped and just got him food before he went inside the barber shop, or I don't know how he thought he was going to do it, but he gave the alleged homeless guy 500 pesos to go bring him back some change. And he never came back with the money. That's what happened. So the guy got ripped off initially. The 30-year-old got ripped off by handing him 500. He never returned. He did spend the rest of the video complaining that he had, like everywhere he stopped, he said something like to the trike driver and to two girls that were at a vending table, and so that's what had happened. And then the other vlogger said all that other stuff. Oh, we should have just gave him the money. And yeah, I had 3 times I was tipped $20 each and are amazing memories and awesome people. I have 3 times I was tipped $20. Is that where you tipped them or you were tipped at your job here? So, and it can happen. It depends. I mean, if I'm up at Candy Palace and we're sitting there 6, 7 hours or something, like literally sitting up there drinking drinks and hanging out with people or something, then if we have multiple servers, we've been known to drop a much larger one. If you have a bigger table of people, I can see that. And it does happen. You just wouldn't want to do it all the time in the Philippines. When you keep tipping, it gets to the point where it's no longer appreciated, it becomes expected. And that's what I was saying is George stops me from doing 200 peso tips for a food delivery. And initially, you're like the bank guy, I start giving $100 to. And it's 100 pesos when it's not even already in a parking lot. That's where we're not even on the main street or need any help. He just approaches all the cars and he doesn't actually, this guy doesn't do anything at the bank but stand there. So George gets very irritated at that point. So it doesn't make any sense. It was like when we were in Mexico. We have to say Mexico because there is a Mexico nearby here in this area. In Mexico, we had to pay to enter the bathrooms on the interstate. We're not talking about like you get off the interstate in the United States, like literally it's a street and there's a gas station, there's a bathroom. The bathroom is separate on another piece of land. You go in there, you have to pay them to enter, which was about $1. And then there were people inside there. They also wanted to be paid. They stood by your stall, followed you to the sink, and then tried to give you like a paper towel, and they wanted tips too. So you couldn't even avoid them and stuff. And it was just like they created jobs, and I get that. And we found out, George talked to them, that no, they were not hired from that company. They just did it anyways. And then there were people waiting on the outside of the bathroom trying to get money from us. So it was like they were just standing there for no reason, no direction, nothing, trying to. And then people like, oh, well, you're just cheap, Heidi. You're just bitching. You're just this. I just don't want to be hustled every time. And I get tired of saying no. And you do get followed around here, depending on the area you're in the film. Matter of fact, even in the good areas, you can still be followed. And sometimes it just gets old. And initially, when I got in this neighborhood, I had a lot of issues. Now the kids stopped coming. Now with Christmas, they're going to start coming again. But if I'm outside, somebody's going to walk by and talk to me. And these are just regular people living in the neighborhood. And some of them randomly have just asked for money. Give me money. And I'm like, it just gets old. And they'll be like, well, that's your fault for going to the Philippines. No, it's not actually. And I don't owe it to people either. And George definitely gets upset. Like George was approached for rice again the other day from a regular neighbor. And I'm like, "Did you go and buy the rice?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay, well, I get it. We don't want no issues, but I mean, if you keep doing that, he's going to keep asking you every month for the rice." So, hey, what's going on, Black Grandpa? Thank God it is Friday. Yes, most definitely. I love seeing the videos of Americans complaining about the tips just because tips are for people who go out of their way, not doing your job. Gotcha. I mean, I do and I don't. Tips are for people who go out of their way, not doing your job. Yeah, if they go out of their way. But it used to be tips were because of good service but now they just gotten out of control and now everybody wants a tip here in the Philippines. And the other part is you just wouldn't overdo it. That's for sure. But that whole video was about the guy complaining about the amount and the other one and went around. And I'm saying you don't have to be bullied into a tip here. You don't have to pay everybody to do everything. And overpaying all the time is a problem too. And a discussion, would you guys pay out like that? Would you pay $20 every time you got a service? You know of the kids who all of a sudden jump on your windshield wax. Yeah. Yes, in Manila, and when we went to Makati and we went in there a few times, it's ridiculous, and some of them will damage something if you don't do it. It gets really bad, and our driver had a brand new car, and he was so frustrated because he had just did his car and they were throwing stuff onto his car. It's more of a threat. Like, I just sent a video to George where there was a kid with an actual knife. We're not talking about that little one with the little toy plastic thing threatening people at stoplights. No, they had a full on knife at the actual light. And I'm like, it's not funny. The Filipinos actually made fun of the kid. Oh, look at this kid being tough, trying to get tips and money, threatening to pop tires. And I'm like, that's not cute. That's not. This is the only country so far that I've been to that would do something like that, where somebody wouldn't slap the shit out of them. So you wouldn't have pulled that shit in Egypt and Canada and America, and it's there's a lot to say about that. It's not nice. So, even when you park your car, say at the bank, there's a guy there helping you back out on the street, wants a tip. Yeah, if it's actually that, but where's the line? 20 pesos, 40, 100? What does a Filipino give? Okay, I get that. We deal with that. Our bank is not on the street. It's an oversized lot where we don't need any assistance at all. And he is still looking for a tip because he's standing by our car. And it's not even an older guy. It's a guy in his mid 30s, maybe. And there's an attendant on the way out of this parking lot. So it's like, I don't know. It's I don't know. I know. That's just my answer. I don't know. So, Raymond, you need that guy. Filipinos will never let you out. Well, that is true. That is true. Like I said, if you're out on the street, you do. But what do you tip that person? I mean, most of the people in our room are expats. They've got Filipina spouses. What do you pay that person? I know what George will pay him. I know what other people are paying. You'd be lucky to see 20 pesos. So, and a lot of people, oh, well, that's only a quarter. Well, it's but usually for us, depending on their hustle and everything, 50 to 100 sometimes, but even 100 seems insane. Oh yeah, we're down to the maid. If a maid wants 500 pesos for the day, why would you pay someone 1,000 for 2 hours? Yeah, yeah, it was kind of insane because, as I'm to understand, it would have only been for a few hours. So, and basically, we've attempted to hire people in that came from other people and were recommended. We did it twice, and you're going to spend weeks or months trying to teach somebody to clean your house, and you do have to do it. It doesn't matter if it's America and you pay a professional, you still, there's a level that you have to tell them, don't touch this, don't do that. and with the language barrier, that'd have been a hot mess. So, but the fact she jumped straight to 1,000 for a few hours, I thought was insane. And so I probably would have considered it at some point. George goes, "Yeah, the answer is no." And if she shows up in a couple days, he said, we just tell her no because she knew she was hustling us. Like I said, it was, I thought George said it was 500, 600 for, and that includes watching the grandbaby. But this is somebody that comes that has always been in the family, like, and she's even got experience. It's in a different area. It's not quite in a city. And so, but she still only gets that, including babysitting, and she cooks and cleans while she's there. And she's there all day for that cost. Why would I pay 1,000 for somebody that's just going to clean my bathroom and mop my floors? And because we wouldn't have them even clean the upper half of the house. So she's only, there's just not a whole lot. Our house is more organization and pickup than it is anything. So I can't imagine, but you'd have to live here long term to actually know. Doesn't hurt my feelings. When I did that 500 tip to Angel, if you understand, that was in 1995, 2 years after Pinatubo. Gotcha. Yeah. And also Super Typhoon hit. People were living under. Yeah. So, yeah, it's like, get me out of here. Yeah. Gotcha. That makes sense. What in the Abigail? Creepy doll. Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah, I know I'm behind. Yeah, that was a creepy doll. Yeah, it's weird. So he was, it's weird. There he is judging the other guy for getting ripped off on the 500 base, which he shouldn't have handed him the money. But don't give him a hard time because he just didn't hand him 500. And he could have just said no from the beginning that he didn't need help. But people are going to get their hustle on trying to be, get you somewhere. But if the guy didn't know his way around, he should have hired a guy. They were both wrong, but for the guy with the doll fetish and channel and the bullshit he has to judge the other guy on the tipping thing and leave Filipinos alone bullshit, I'm like, I'm just gonna come in. I can do no wrong. Let's just talk about both those nutcases. One nutcase to another. You both are ridiculous. The guy or the doll, yeah, he's just really weird. It's You did the right thing, Heidi. Never hire random strangers. Correct. Yeah, there's no way. And here's the crazy part. We've had people that just, that's what they want to do. They actually approach the gate and they want us just to let them in. And we went through a hard time. Like we had this wallpaper behind us. We have nothing but bright yellow walls in here, and it took us a while, but we just used our landlord this time, and he had his own contractors that came in, and so yeah, you got to be careful. And yeah, these are just random. Now, have I seen these women walk every morning at like 6 a.m. and 7? Yes. But just because I've seen them, a couple times a week do this doesn't make them trustworthy. Her saying she works for other people is not trustworthy. But when she gouged me from the beginning and said, hey, it's going to be 1,000 pesos, the answer, she just totally, even if there was a possibility, she just talked totally out it because hiring people here is not exactly what it seems. You should, as we said, go through agencies. It's going to cost way more and there are fees and everything, but usually you hire somebody that already works for somebody else, that has experience and you go from there. But I would vet them all out but there are agencies you can hire. If you got the money, that's the way you go. Get a pea shooter. He is nuts, gives us foreigners a bad name, and we're all put in the same basket. Yeah. Damn, Heidi, you gave me an idea for a t shirt. I'm American and poor. That's why I moved to the Philippines. I'm a reject American. Yeah, I don't know about that. That would be funny. Ah, right? That would probably work. I'm just a reject. Maybe that'll be a good song. That's really a good one. Yeah, I'm just a reject American, but I wouldn't just leave it at American. I mean, that's been kind of the point this past month is that it's everybody. It's not just a culture or a nation or whatever. People are just idiots by themselves. Doesn't matter where they come from. Africa, America, Canada, the Middle East. It just kind of all different areas. China. It's just where it is. Yeah, sweet kitty. No, it just got worse and worse. And it took him like when Gio was sick. He was getting his medicine for about a week, and he pulled through, but he slept all the time. Not his brother. Just boom in a 24-hour period, he went from just being tired like to like it looked like somebody dipped him in tar, but it wasn't. It was respiratory. The vet said that it was everything respiratory was coming from his nose and chest. He was wheezing, but he went down hard within 24 hours. Then the medicine he was getting, and then boom, 3 days gone. It was hard, and he was vaccinated. He said it should have helped, but it's not 100%. Because I asked him, I said, wasn't that 7-in-1 or it was 5-in-1 that we got when they got fixed? They do vaccines and they do the fixing all at once, and nope. He said no, it'll help. What he had was part of it, but it's been raining too. It's been raining. The guy is a YouTube pouring himself out for money to make a living. All of them are Filipinos, expats. They're all out doing that. Whether it's TikTok, whether it's Facebook, it's a continuum of this for everybody. So if I mean, it's sometimes the way they're dressing, it's sometimes they're looking for drama. This guy seems to be more of a Kulos type of guy, not the one with the doll, the other one seems to be like that. And he does other he like I think he's in India right now. So he goes around really trying to show life. Hey, this food's good. Hey, this is this. But when the drama shows up, he runs with it. I wouldn't say he's just trying to make money and get his hustle on, just like the Filipinos that do content on their own country. That I'm just going to call that stuff out because there's more Filipinos doing content here, of course, than there are foreigners. So, and they do spit out their own country, and you can't say it's because they're allowed to because they're Filipino. We're all human and stuff. So, content creators are content creators, and everybody's life is on view right now. And I was watching, I think it's on is it HBO where they talked about like childhood stars, things that gone bad with their life, and there's another section that talked about the Housewives of Beverly Hills and all those when them shows started up, and they choose certain people for their drama, and they want them to put out drama. The more drama and the sluttier and all of that was, the more it sold. So they went with those type of people. Now people on social media are aware of that, so they're always putting that type of stuff out. They're dressing with less clothes, more drama, more content. They're getting less sleep, and they're just running themselves in the ground. But sadly, the Filipinos are the ones that's doing the most of it. Like as far as their own country showing that stuff, you guys are just seeing us as expats doing the content because it's just what comes into your feed. But like George said, the bigger ones that are doing it all day, there's some really bad ones that expose the poor Filipinos out and about, that are under the bridges and, things going sad, and they spend 2 3 days recording them and stuff, and they expose them, and it's not a good look for the country either. So we can't be blamed as expats as the ones doing it either. Part of it, but not all of it. Thank you. It's sad. Yeah, because I feel bad for him being out there, and they go out there and they've been out there, and our intention was to let them be more of an outdoor cat and the boys, and it just didn't turn out the way. So I'm like, no, we got to bring Geo back in. We can't let him keep going outside and then leave him out there all day or something. And because they barely want to come in, but after that, I said no, we can't. So that is sad. Some foreigners feel rich, yeah, and they act like one, arrogant too. Yes, I agree. When they come here, and if themselves close to poverty leaves, yeah, no, that's true. They're close to poverty level in their own country. Yeah. And it is hard. When I first got here, I gave way bigger tips. George had not been home in a long time. So we were like every time someone came to the hotel door, we were tipping the people just bringing food, and it was part of the cost of the room. So we ended up paying another 20,000 pesos for rice and little bits of meat here and there. But every time they brought us the tray in the beginning, I was giving tips. And George says, yeah, we're not supposed to, we shouldn't be doing that either because it was part of the cost of the hotel room when we were in quarantine. But anytime they would come, like one time there was something wrong with the satellite and this and that, he came right away and took care of it. I tipped him 100 pesos. And so I get at the hotels, you're supposed to do it, but you do feel like you have a lot of money in the beginning. And then, yes, they're poor in their country too. So I'd probably say we were at middle class. We were not upper class, but we had several cars. We had a separate apartment. We had the house. We were going on vacations, could afford concerts, traveled. I mean, so we weren't dog poor when we left. It's when you stop the income, we close the business and all that. That's when it became a problem of I'm just not going to throw the money away either. So that's where, and now we are on a budget. So there's no doubt that yeah, that's what happened to George. Yeah. Everybody got fixed. Going back to Arizona end of the month, wondering about my outside feral cats. Oh boy, yeah, there's a lot of cats. Yeah. There's neighborhoods and neighborhoods here, but they're so stinking cute. Yeah, I wish. No, definitely fixed, definitely vaccinated. Yeah, Elon Musk is working on the future robot partner to replace your old blown up one. Yeah, it can carry your child. Well, yeah, they claim that there's one out there doing that. I don't know what to believe anymore. They could have AI'd that part of it or just put the story out, but it wouldn't surprise me. And we know that there are bots, and we know that there are ones that people order that are their spouses or whatever. You can order just about anything anymore. Yeah. The same way you feel about your cats is the same way Americans have to feel about the poor Filipino people. Yeah, you can't save them all. And that is true. And it's just not Americans. It's the British that try to, as MYK once said, the Save-A-Ho tribe is out there. They even try to save the ones that have money or appear to be doing okay. So it's evident in some of the YouTube channels where they're using nothing but simping for the guys, and then they spend every day, twice a day on live streams, and hardly no clothes, dancing, or these guys just toss money. It's called to me money for nothing situation, and no, they do feel that, and a lot of guys do marry the bar girls over here and sometimes they're like, you can't do it, but they do, and they do have happy relationships. But it started out like that. It's kind of like Pretty Woman, but a lot of I think when they see the poverty and how bad they're doing and what little bit of money they're bringing in, it makes sense. Part of like in my relationships, I've just got too much of a mothering thing going on. And for me, with George, he was working every day, 16 hours, not eating, not sleeping, not taking his meds. It was already an instant attraction for me. And the same with him. At some point, he said that I was broken. I was like, well, yeah, I mean, everybody's got issues. And I'm like, but we seen each other as fun. But there was some sort of challenge thing and sympathy thing. And I'm like, so now he's taking his medicine. Now he's eating and he's gained a lot of weight. I mean, for him, I mean, I know I have, but like George will say, he's put on at least 20 pounds, and it's because he's eating all the time. So, hey, what are you still complaining about? Hey, you still chiming in? I'm going to take your toy. Hey, I thought you were being quiet. No. Ooh, you brought your toy? Ooh, ooh. They're very verbal, this pack. Their mother is very verbal too. And it seems like whatever cats are are your cats here in the Philippines super verbal like this? It just seems like the group in this neighborhood all talk. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Woo, 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 woo. Oh boy, don't bite. Don't bite. My girl loves Persian cats, has a bunch of them. Oh, sorry. Nah, yeah, no. Yeah, with me talking in between, it's hard to get through it. I mean, the restream pushes, like if I didn't answer some of the comments, it keeps pushing them up. So it does. It's not like the other StreamYard where it does it as we want them. No, they cut them off here. We don't even get a chance to bring them up. And I'm not looking at the tablet at the same time to go through them. Sorry. You should see me and my husband get into it, Heidi. My guy is annoying at times, and yesterday he was terrible. He's a Scorpio. We're both Cancer. We're both emotional. We are exactly, and it's very highly unlikely two Cancers hook up. Mostly, we're super personal, and but yet we don't like. Right now, it's communication. I communicate too much. George won't talk hardly at all. When he has an issue, he stuffs it. When I have a problem, I say, "Hey, there's no more soup in the kitchen and we got to get to the store situation," and he won't. If there's no soup in the kitchen, he'll never even say it's gone. So it's been really rough. And but one day at a time. It's a relationship, but it's not worth, like saying, hey, it's over. So if it works, it works. No, it's not always on YouTube. Hell, even tip the Lazada guy. Granted, it's only 100. Yeah, if you keep, I get for people, they'll say, "Hey, it's only $2. You should do it." We get deliveries 3 times a day sometimes. I'm not going to be out. What is that? That would be on average. It's between 1 and 3. Let's say I'm getting the 3 at least half the month. They will come back multiple times. I don't know why they do it, and it's not always the same company. So we can get up to 3 deliveries a day. So that would be $2, give or take, depending on exchange. I know some people pick and say, no, it's not quite two, but let's just say it's $2 on average after the exchange. So you're talking six, that's $180. And yes, it is every day of the week. Sometimes we're getting packages. So I can't see doing that either. So, but some people do. I mean, if you've got it, then do it. And it's it's halftime right now. Philippines is all casino money. Living there, know what you're into. It's a lot of people spending, and I'm not the only one. Other channels have talked about it. I don't know where the even George. I used to say it a lot when we first got here. Matter of fact, it was a major bitch for me. I was like, where are these people getting the money? All these new cars, all that. We cannot afford a car payment. We cannot afford a car payment. And there are people, he says, oh, well, these people got a car because they're in a payment. How? There's still US car payments at 400, 500 a month. And if they're only making, let's say nicely, they're making 1,000 a month, which would be high here. How are they affording 600 of it as a car payment when they have full house full of kids? And because they got the kids with them. It's kind of, I don't know. So I don't think everybody's casino money. Maybe just different hustles or something, but they do borrow against stuff. They definitely do. OFW money. They'll have 6 different people in the house. There's different ways they do it. I'm aware of it. But he calls her Tina, yeah. Could you imagine if this guy has kids and when they grow up they see his shit? Yeah, and they hear embarrassed. Yeah, I thought it was weird too. That's why I figured I would cover it today. It's just, my guess makes 10 times what Filipinos do. If you make 15 an hour, that's not great, but 10 times less than that is 240. No, because Filipinos don't make $240 a month. That would be somebody practically homeless here. Filipinos, each person, 600 would be low end. So 500, 600. So it's not even close. He's way off. Oh, you're talking about on 10 times the amount would be 250. There might be a correlation there. Yeah, okay, sorry. The guy said 50. You're right. He said 50 times more, and that's not. But yeah, I would say the average Filipino 500, 600. But I don't know. Not everybody's making money in America. The Filipinas and Filipino guys realize that once they go to America. And now with the cost and the rents and the electricities and everything going up over there, it's getting even rougher. It's kind of messed up all over the world. We don't see off screen, but I think I can tell when you're annoyed, starting with the, yeah, but you both are passionate and good people. Thank you. Like I said, it doesn't take long. He came back that evening, but it was true. He has disappeared that long. But I also know, you know, that, you know, he's with the family 100%. He's been spending time with his uncle that's over there that is sick. And so it all works out and stuff. We have more good times than we do bad times. That's the way I look at it. So he's very passionate. He's very nice. But remember, that is evil with a kitten face sometimes. Same here. Yeah, I'm also can be the same way, but I think it's like evil, 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 and then kitten, kitten, kitten. But no, I see the same thing with renting. A $300 rental in the Philippines would go for 3,000 or more in the U.S. Yeah, some of them, yes, can, yes. I would agree with that. So even our place, I tried to tell people that if you take a 2 bedroom, which we have, in a 2 bath, we pay 200 a month. The neighborhood is not is not pretty. I mean, it's funny though that, like I said, a couple houses over, there's an oversized house that belongs to one of the big government officials. Down up on the corner, there's a bunch of newer apartments. The neighborhood is mixed, but it's not. We're still in a somewhat commercial, nice area. We're really close to SM, where the Walter Mart is. There's a hospital nearby. They would still consider this pretty decent. It's not the worst neighborhood, but this place in the United States would easily be 1,200, 1,500, depends. So we've got the back porch, we've got concreted with a gate on the front of it. So yeah, no, the rents would change quite a bit. Now, on the other hand, they were selling a house, and I just seen it on Facebook, and they want $2 million for it. And it's not in one of the big subdivisions. Literally, there's a bunch of small houses around it. It's not the greatest neighborhood. I'm like, I wouldn't pay 2 million in the US. It doesn't matter. There are houses in Beverly Hills where you're paying 1 million or 2 per acre. So these houses are 2 and 3 million in Beverly Hills. And I'm like, why would I? It just seemed like a major investment in that neighborhood for that house, and it was just a so-so house. And I'm like, why is it 3 million US? They wanted 100 million pesos for it. I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's a no. It was over 100 million pesos, and I'm like, I don't get it. So some things, the investments are kind of crazy here, but like I said, there's the nepo babies that'll go into that type of neighborhood and just buy it because they have. $2 million to do it. There were inquiries, and then somebody come in and said, "Oh, I have a friend that's retiring from America that would like to get that house. How much is it renting?" And the person says, "Yeah, it's not for rent; it's for sale." And then somebody said it was a couple million US, and I'm like, I don't think the expats coming here to spend the $3 million US house. It was crazy. So those type of things will blow your mind. And I guess me and George, that's one thing we do is we kind of analyze things and look at things, and he'll be like, "Yeah, that's crazy. Why would somebody invest like that?" Maybe because they can. So, but it's crazy. Pineapple looking good. If you know, you know, right? Yeah, you know, you know. Inflation is up, but still much, much cheaper than. Yes, I would agree. And that's why we're here. I got over infrastructure a long time ago. I just tend to know I can't replace the money by getting a job. And, um, by George going out and getting a job, by doing part time, even on my Social Security, I'm still allowed to do that thing where you're working and go through that whole thing where you can work like a year and all. But there won't be enough money here or online that you could really make to make up for some of this inflation going on, but it is way better than America. Jim Baker loved his woman, yeah, on Tammy Faye, right? Inflation is coming for everyone everywhere. That's why Social Security gets a COLA. Yeah, but they don't give the amount. But I know that's all dealing in how it's invested and all of that. But COLA has never meant inflation. The government tells people it does, and they're like, okay. But there's no way that 2% is where the inflation is. It's not where it is. But Social Security was never meant to be the sole income, so it just never was. But for here, you can actually do it. So and we're generous all the time. It's not that I'm saying, hey, don't ever be generous. Because, like I said, we do the gift baskets, we do where we do give bigger tips sometimes to the actual drivers. And um, it's, you know, you just have to watch all the way around. Here, they do feel it. This is the one country I feel that everybody's looking for a tip, no matter what the situation. Yeah, that's a good thing. Ask them. Yeah. If you want to know how much to tip a waitress in the Philippines, ask a Filipino. Yeah, and it's George that sets me straight every time. Same with his family. His family, it's, yeah, they will actually say. So that's how we know we are over tipping all the time. And his family is upper class. So, and they won't tip the tips we've been giving. And especially, like I said, when George heard the woman wanted 1,000, that was just an instant rip off for that job. Is it really a tip or pity tipping? That's where I'm at a lot of times. So, yeah, it's like, the guy's been standing out there at the bank and he comes right up the car. I said, "Oh, he's glad to see us and everything." And I give him 100. And George goes, "Yeah, now he wants 100 from me every time I come to the bank." He said, "No, we're not doing it." So, no, and it is. Pity tipping. That would have been a great title. That might change the title. Pity tipping. Pity tipping. Yeah. Filipino prepping, that's probably, yeah, at a sit down restaurant, I leave 50 per person. Here lately, I've been doing 50 pesos. Like, we pay cash instead of leaving it on the delivery. And that's because we know I think they got to cash out kind of like it was for Uber and stuff, and you lose some of that percentage sometimes. So George says just keep giving them 50s and stuff because if they're putting averages 40 and different things. On average, we're doing 50 when people arrive. So, and then for a long time, we had a hard time getting change. Change isn't exactly what comes by. If it wasn't for us getting change at the bank, it's hard to get change these days. Usually people don't have any change. Like if you go to the sorry stores or different thing, not always do they have change. You got to bring exact amounts. At least in our neighborhood, it is in our areas. You got it, did you? I got me some strawberry filled powder, Krispy Kreme. That was something else I wondered. There's like two or three Krispy Kremes here. Do they bake them here or are they shipping them in from Manila? I didn't know. Ghost funds, flooding funds. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Yeah, I see. I'm still behind. Now I'm just scrolling through some of these, trying to get to the bottom. Did the cat donut have catnip in it? No, it was literally one of those donuts. I take the bread part of it. Geo enjoyed that earlier. The dog got one or two bites. He looks like the Grinch. He's got a lot of white on his belly. Yes, I did. I turned him into. Hey, Bookham Dano. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, he's a cute kid. Oh, okay. Lunar eclipse. Yay. Ah, interesting. I have to check that out. Best steak in Angeles is Dave's Kebab, believe it or not. Good morning, Thera. And shout out to our members and subscribers for sure, guys. Yes, the service is good at Wolfgang's. It's in the Resort World across from Terminal 3. Yeah, that's got to be insane. I couldn't imagine going to Wolfgang's or what's the other big places charging those prices in the Philippines. That is for the Uber elite. That was like that one that we discussed. I told George we ought to gather the money or save up because the 3-course meal, 5-course meal, I think it is, at that restaurant is a couple hundred US dollars. I think it's almost $300 for a 5 or 6 course meal at one of the hotels. But it's got like projected computer stuff on it, and it's meant for social media. It's meant for a wow factor, and like the different types of food that they have, but it's still high. I mean, $200-300 for that's crazy. But they have really expensive stuff in the U.S. too. Fast food here at 20 an hour. Chosen One says he doesn't tip Lazada. I only tip when it comes to food that affects my health. Yeah, direction. Right. Yeah, because you could end up with the same drivers and stuff. Yeah, it's like, yeah, no tip for Lazada, Shopee, and Temu. Yeah, I consider it almost regular mail and beings. We do everything. Cat treats. Some here lately, I've even been ordering the cat food and the cat dog food. The cat and dog food. The cat litter is cheaper online. I got to watch to make sure there's like something to cover the shipping on the cat litter because now we're using the cassava because there's no dust in it and it absorbs all the odor. Um, so beings we do most everything. It's kind of yeah. It just there's always packages coming in, and I'm at the point now that I know they get the percentage plus whatever they're getting for the day. Like ours is a husband and wife team, and the other one is a nephew and aunt team. So it just depends. The only time we do is when we're paying cash and we just round it up. Sometimes they end up with 70, 80 pesos, but George will take back the change and bring it in. But I just always give it to him. But I know it seems cheap, but it's kind of where it is. Boycott China. Just look to your seas. Yeah. My mail person said they make between 750 and 1,000 every Christmas. Wow. Good morning, Victoria. I give extra for J&T and Flash package. It's heavy and delivered without damage. Yeah, Like I said, we do the Billy buy-in when we had the refrigerator. Yeah, they even brought it in and everything. Yeah, we've been known to do a few hundred for larger items. When you safely get a refrigerator that's $400 or $500, or like the washing machine when ours came in, I can see that. Yes, it's kind of almost like the common sense you would use on, but it's hard not to get hustled. And this is the only country I've struggled with. I don't like to say it too much because I get a hard time from George for the rest of the day for saying things. And it's not only where he feels I'm downing the Filipinos, it's just putting out information because most of our channel is about expats coming here. And I'm living here every day and been here almost 5 years, but it's, the harsh truth is I almost always feel like I'm getting some sort of hustle at the market, or when people walk by, they're just not stopping to say hello for that, because after they talk for a few minutes, they ask me for something. Or they, can they do this, and that, and then it's a high price on the situation. And so it's hard. And so I think that's where people kind of like get that every girl's a scammer, every girl's a walking street girl, every man, woman, and child is out to do that, because it does happen. And um, it's it has been the top complaint over and over again recently about the difference with other Asian countries and the Philippines. It's just, now, have I been to other Asian countries? No. But I've been to other countries, lots of them, and this is the only country that hits this hard on what appears to be, you know, people getting their hustle on. So not everybody. Now, giving out the 500 pesos to the guy and expecting him to come back was just plain stupid on the original vloggers situation. That was just stupid. You wouldn't do that there. That's for sure. And you don't give out $20 tips for the simple things either. I was at Japan restaurant the other day. I waited 30 minutes for the menu and long time for the food. Yeah, I just gave 43 pesos. I don't tip for poor service. And that's the way it should be. And both me and George, believe it or not, as much as I talk shit, we probably would have gave the couple $100 peso just for being at the restaurant. And but as George would say, we'll definitely never go back. And we'll complain to other people about the place. So, but no, it makes sense. That's should be more tough on that. Yeah, it's out of guilt and pity. Yeah, we should follow. You're supposed to follow what the locals do. If the locals don't deal with that shit, then you really shouldn't either. That's the bottom line. It's where it's at. You know, the thing in Manila with coming up on the car. If that had been our rental car, me and George just would have let him do whatever they were doing to the car and gave him a tip afterwards. And basically, you're being bullied into that. You tell him no. The guy, when we were in Manila, told the guy no to stay off the car 10 times as a Filipino. And finally, he just screamed at him. He opened the door and started getting out and said, "Get off the car." And so, but you just kind of have to follow. And George is Filipino, okay? That's just where it is. I still think when they see him with me, then George just looks OFW because the way he wears jeans and his tennis, the way he dresses, kind of screams out that. And he speaks English most of the time, so I can understand. But anyone here knows how to buy into that $1 billion lottery? Yeah. IHOP one morning ordered $19 worth of food. Never used Grubhub before. I wanted to see how much it would be. They wanted 54 to delivery at night. Oh yeah, wow. Has it really gotten that crazy? Yeah, by the time they add all the fees into it. We rarely use the delivery companies in the US. We had groceries delivered by a few of the companies. We used to order pizza on the occasion. A few times a month, maybe, because yes, it seemed like there were 10, 15, $20 fees in there. Here, it's not so bad. And so they raised the food prices slightly, but yeah, the rest of it is, yeah, that's insane. I give cash and every kind at Christmas. Only to good Lazada drivers. Yeah, we have the same ones. So, yeah, I tip all drivers that deliver. Yeah, this is why the majority of the locals don't tip. I text my son in Wisconsin to buy $20 worth. There you go. You are in another country. So what? What does you are in another country mean? It means exactly squat. It doesn't matter where I'm at. I'm going to be where I'm at. Nobody owns this country, not the president, not nobody. So actually, it really doesn't. Many street vendors refuse to give me back my change and says it's a tip. No, I will agree, Cindy. Cindy knows she's been here a long time. So, nope, that's no joke. No joke. We kind of get that too. Some of the drivers will just walk away if we hand a certain amount, and they're definitely getting more than they should. And George will say, change. So it does get to be like that. You have to be very clear. So, all right, I think I'm going to wrap this up. 2.5 hours. I have to get up and move. Monthly payments on motorcycles, 13. Oh, I doubt that. Monthly payment on a motorcycle is 1,300 pesos a month. That can't be. I don't know where somebody would pay 22. That must be a really small motorcycle because the amount of interest that they set on these loans. Like when we initially started talking about the e-trike before we ran that trikeathon or whatever, if you go in and get something like that, that's a couple thousand US like that on that, the payments will not be that low. And I don't know. I don't know. That seems awful low for a payment for 1,300 pesos on a motorcycle? Or is that like one of the smaller ones? Yeah, yeah, because like the trike itself was close to 80 or 90,000 pesos because of the type of battery. And if you put that into payment, and then if you have a bike, I couldn't tell you. That just seems awful low, but it could be that. Hey, look, yeah, the 1,000 peso bill is, yeah. And getting change sometimes is really rough. Like in the beginning, we dealt a lot with that. Having by the end of the live, the wig is out of control. It just keeps sliding more and more back. Ugh. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up, and we will be back in Tuesday. And I will talk to you guys later. Thank you for dropping in on the live stream, and thank you guys for all the comments and joining us. Us. Geo's over there asleep, so Mr. Black Cat. So, all right, guys, we will talk to you next time and appreciate everybody dropping in. And thank you for all the members and people coming in and our regulars. I will talk to you guys later. So, there's a lot more comments.